At first, I thought I had found the love of my life. Marina appeared in my world like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. I was a programmer, spending most of my time alone in my apartment, immersed in code and projects. She was a therapist, sweet, attentive, always worried about me. "Did you eat today, Lucas?" was always her first question when she called. And I found that beautiful. Finally, someone who truly cared about me. She started showing up at my apartment with homemade meals. "I thought of you and made your favorite dish," she'd say, always with that smile that melted my heart. She'd organize my kitchen, leave little, love notes around the house. "For the most special man in the world," she would write. I felt loved, cared for, special. But things started to change so subtly that I didn't notice at first. "I installed an app on your phone to remind you to drink water," she said one afternoon, handling my phone with familiarity. "And look what a coincidence. I discovered we can share location. This way I'll be at peace knowing you arrived safely wherever you go." I hesitated for a second. Something inside me whispered that this wasn't right. But Marina looked at me with those sweet eyes and said, "That's just because I love you so much, Lucas. I want to know you're safe." And I believed her. Weeks passed and the changes became more evident. "Diego called yesterday wanting to make plans," Marina told me one day. "He said you didn't answer." I frowned. "I didn't see any missed calls." "How strange," she replied, but quickly changed the subject. Later, when I tried to call Diego, I discovered he was blocked on my phone. When I asked Marina about it, she said, "Oh, that was an accident." You know how clumsy I am with technology, but I knew Marina wasn't clumsy with anything. Diego finally managed to find me in person at a bar. He was clearly irritated. "Dude, finally! I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Sorry, I've been busy with work and..." I started. "And with Marina, I know. Lucas, we need to talk. She's isolating you, man. When was the last time we hung out just the two of us? When was the last time you did anything without asking her permission?" My phone beeped. Instinctively, I reached to check it. "Dude, do you hear what you're saying?" "Let me tell her, you're 28 years old," Diego exploded. I stopped. Suddenly, I realized what I was doing. I was about to send Marina a message explaining where I was, who I was with, what time I'd be back, as if I were a child asking for permission. Healthy. "Relationships work on trust, not GPS tracking," Diego continued. His words echoed in my head for days. The following weeks were an emotional roller coaster. Marina began to organize my life more intensely. She arrived one day with shopping bags full of new clothes, all in neutral conservative tones. "I threw away those old colorful shirts from your closet," she said casually. "They were too worn out." "Which shirts?" I asked, alarmed. "Those red and blue ones you always wore. They didn't suit you, honey." I ran to the bedroom. My closet was unrecognizable, only clothes Marina had chosen. "Marina, I liked those shirts." She hugged me from behind, whispering, "Lucas, trust my taste. I only want the best for you. You know that, right?" And I believed her. Again. But it didn't stop there. She cancelled my enrollment in the guitar course I wanted to take. "You should focus more on work, love. It's better for our future." She uninstalled games from my computer. "These games are a waste of time. You're too intelligent for that." Little by little, I was losing pieces of myself. My hobbies, my friends, my choices. Everything went through Marina's filter. And worst of all, I was starting to doubt my own perception. "You're being paranoid," she'd say when I questioned something. "I love you, Lucas. Everything I do is out of love." The situation reached its limit on a Tuesday night. I was trying to cook something different, a recipe I had seen online. Marina came home and saw the mess in the kitchen. "What are you doing?" she asked, with a tone I had never heard before. "I thought I'd make that recipe. I saw online. Lucas, you know you don't cook well. Why don't you leave this to me? I know how to take care of you better than you do yourself." Something inside me snapped at that moment. "Marina," I said, my voice coming out firmer than I expected, "I want to cook. It's my kitchen, my food, my choice." The silence that followed was deafening. Marina looked at me as if I had said the most absurd thing in the world. Then, for the first time, I saw something different in her eyes. Something cold, calculating. "You're stressed from work," she said finally. "I'll make you some tea to calm down." But I didn't want to calm down. For the first time in months, I wanted to feel angry. That night I pretended to sleep and watched Marina. She took my phone and started going through it. I saw her deleting conversations, blocking contacts, checking my location history from recent days. My blood ran cold. Everything made sense now. The missed calls I never received, the friends who stopped calling, the job opportunities that didn't work out. Marina wasn't protecting me, she was isolating me. The next day, Marina said she was going out shopping. I waited for her to leave and ran to my computer. I started investigating. I checked my email. There were dozens of deleted messages. Messages from work, from friends, from family, all intercepted. My heart raced when I found emails from an incredible job at a tech company. They had offered me a position, waited for a response for weeks, and finally gave up. The last message said, "We regret that you haven't responded to our contact attempts. Marina had sabotaged my career." But that was nothing compared to what I would discover that night. Marina came home later with that same sweet smile as always. We had dinner in silence. I could barely look at her. "Are you okay, love?" she asked. "You seem distant today." "Just tired," I lied. We went to bed. I pretended to fall asleep again, but this time I was prepared. I left my phone on but put another old cell phone under my pillow to record. As expected, Marina took my phone after she thought I was asleep, but this time something different happened. Her phone, which was on the nightstand, lit up with a message, and what I saw on that screen changed everything. The message was from someone called Elena Mom, but that's not what shocked me. The message read, "Marina, how's the new project going? Is he completely dependent yet? Remember total isolation before transfer." My blood froze. Project? Transfer? With my heart racing, I could see more messages on the locked screen. Confirm when he signs the power of attorney for assets. The offshore account is ready to receive. The funds. Remember what happened to the previous one when he found out. The previous one, Marina wasn't just controlling. She was a con artist, and I wasn't the first. With trembling hands, I managed to photograph her phone screen with my old cell phone before the message disappeared. In the following days, I pretended normalcy while secretly investigating. I discovered that Marina had done this before, 3 times. The first was a businessman named Robert. She isolated him, gained his trust, got access to his accounts, and disappeared with everything. Robert had a nervous breakdown and never fully recovered. The second was an engineer named Andrew. Same pattern: isolation, control, manipulation. When he started to suspect he had an accident, fell down his home stairs. He survived but lost his memory. The third was a lawyer named Charles. He simply disappeared. Police are still looking for him. And now I was the fourth. I needed evidence and a plan. I started secretly recording our conversations. I documented every controlling behavior, every manipulation. I also started pretending that I was completely giving in to her control. I stopped questioning her decisions. I agreed with everything. "You're right, Marina," I would say. "You know what's best for me." She was visibly pleased with my evolution. A week later, she brought documents home. "Love, I thought it would be good to organize our financial life together," she said. "Sweet as always. I prepared a power of attorney so I can take care of your accounts when you're busy with work." There it was, the moment she had been building toward for months. "Of course," I said, taking the papers. "Can I read it first?" For a split second, I saw irritation in her eyes. But she smiled. "Of course, love, but it's just boring paperwork, trust me." That night I analyzed all the documents. It wasn't just a power of attorney. It was a complete transfer of all my assets to an account she controlled. If I signed that, I would lose everything. And probably my life too. I decided to confront her, but intelligently. "Marina," I said the next morning, "last night your phone rang and I accidentally turned on the screen. I saw a strange message from your mother." She froze completely. "What message?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Something about a project and transfer. What does that mean?" The silence that followed was suffocating. Then Marina did something that terrified me. She smiled. But it wasn't the sweet smile I knew. It was cold, calculating, dangerous. "Oh, Lucas," she said, her voice completely different. "You shouldn't have seen that." The mask had fallen. "You know, of the four, you were the most difficult," she continued, walking around the room like a predator. "Robert was naive, Andrew was needy, Charles was arrogant, but you had to be intelligent." "Four?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Did you really think you were special, Lucas, that I truly loved you?" She laughed, a chilling sound. "You were a job, a very well-planned project." "Why?" was all I could ask. "Because it's easy," she replied coldly. "Lonely, successful, needy men. You practically deliver yourselves on a silver platter. A little attention, some care, and you'll do anything." I felt sick. "And now?" I asked. Marina approached me, dangerously. "Calm, now you're going to sign those papers." And then, well, accidents happen, don't they? But I was prepared. "Actually, Marina," I said, taking my phone out of my pocket, "there's something you should know." I showed her the screen. I had been recording our conversation for 20 minutes. "And this," I continued, showing another phone, "already sent everything to the police, to Diego, and to a lawyer I secretly hired." Her face changed completely. The confidence disappeared, replaced by panic. "You can't do this," she whispered. "I already did," I replied. "Oh, and one last thing. I called Robert, Andrew, and Charles's family. They're very interested in talking to you." Marina tried to run to the door, but I had already locked it from the inside. "The police should arrive in about 5 minutes." I said, "I suggest you sit down and wait." She turned to me with a fury I had never seen before. "You have no idea what you just did," she snarled. "My mother, our organization, we will—" "Your mother was arrested this morning," I interrupted, "along with 3 other people from your organization. The police have been investigating for months. I just delivered the missing evidence." The sound of sirens approaching echoed down the street. Marina collapsed in the chair, defeated. "How did you find out?" she asked, her voice returning to that sweet, manipulative tone. "I was so careful." "You were," I admitted, "but you made one fatal mistake." "What?" "You underestimated the love of a true friend. Diego never gave up on me. He kept trying to warn me, even when I didn't want to listen. And when I finally woke up, he helped me set up this entire operation." 6 months later, I was sitting in the same bar where Diego had tried to warn me. This time, I wasn't checking my phone every minute. I wasn't worried about schedules or permissions. I was simply talking with my best friend. "How are you feeling?" Diego asked. "Free," I replied without hesitation. For the first time in a long time, truly free. Marina was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Her mother, and who wasn't really her mother but the leader of the organization, got 20 years. They had stolen millions of dollars from lonely men over a decade. Robert was in therapy and slowly rebuilding his life. Andrew had recovered some memories and was suing the criminal group. Charles's family finally had answers about his disappearance. He had been murdered when he discovered the scheme. "You know what impresses me most," Diego said, "how you managed to turn the tables on her." I smiled. "I learned something important in this process, the difference between love and control. True love sets you free. It encourages you to be the best version of yourself. It supports you but doesn't limit you. And control. Control isolates you, diminishes you, makes you dependent, convinces you that you're not capable of taking care of yourself." I took out my phone, not to check messages from someone controlling me, but to show Diego a photo. "Remember that guitar I wanted to learn to play?" "Of course. I bought one last week, and you know what? I'm still terrible at it, but I love every out-of-tune chord I play." Diego laughed. "And the photography classes?" "Started on Monday, and I wear my favorite colorful shirts. I bought new ones just like those Marina threw away." We sat in silence for a moment, watching people pass by on the street. "Hey, Lucas," Diego said finally. "Yeah? You saved other men who could have been their next victims. I hadn't thought about that before, but he was right. You know," I continued, "I'm thinking about writing about this experience. Maybe it will help other people recognize the signs." "What signs?" Gradual isolation from friends and family, financial control, constant monitoring, sabotage of personal and professional opportunities, and mainly, making you doubt your own perception of reality. Diego nodded. Many people don't realize it's happening until it's too late. Exactly. In my case, it started so subtly and with care, concern, love. But true love doesn't control you, doesn't diminish you, doesn't make you lose your identity. Today, 2 years later, I have a completely different life. I accepted that job offer that Marina had sabotaged. The company was still interested when I explained the situation. I moved to a new city, started fresh. I met new people, made true friends. I even started dating again. But this time I know exactly what to look for and what to avoid. I play guitar every night. I take online photography courses. I cook new dishes every week. I wear the clothes I want, go where I want, talk to whoever I want. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I truly love myself. Not the dependent love Marina had created, but healthy self-love. The kind of love that allows you to be with someone by choice, not out of necessity. If you're listening to this story and recognize some signs in your own life, I ask you, pay attention to your true friends. They might be trying to warn you about something you can't see, and remember, healthy relationships make you grow, not shrink. They free you, they don't imprison you. They celebrate you, they don't control you. That message that changed everything for me wasn't just about a con artist and her next victim. It was about the difference between control and love, and that difference can save your life. The End Original. Story inspired by real cases of abusive relationships and romance scams. If you or someone you know is going through a similar situation, seek professional help and support from trusted people.